It is actually planned. I'll tell you that much now. It was actually planned and executed with precision for a little understood purpose. And you'll see what that is when you listen to the sermon. It's actually a very, very interesting subject. Most Americans aren't paying attention really because they don't feel like it affects them. But it does. It does, and students of prophecy need to be awake and watching. There's a reason why, and I'm going to address some of that later. But Rome has tried for years to become legally recognized as the cultural and religious center of Europe. But so far she's failed. She has claimed that the Roman Catholic religion, which she calls the Christian religion, has been the foundation of European culture. How many of you have a European background? Anybody here have a European background? Okay, a few of you, very good. What about the rest of you? Where's your background from? I don't mean that you lived in Europe. I didn't live in Europe, but I'm Maya, das ist Deutsch. That's European, see? I have European ancestors. Does anybody here, besides the few that put your hand up, do you have European ancestors? Well, that should be interesting to you because Europe is actually vital to fulfilling prophecy. Students of prophecy will recognize that Rome is going to rise to great power and authority in the world. In fact, Revelation 13 verse 8 tells us that all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, meaning the beast or the Roman Catholic Church. That's a one-world religion, isn't it? In order for there to be a one-world religion, there has to be one world economy and one world government. That's why you're seeing all this globalism stuff in the news. It's because it's fulfilling prophecy. It's leading us right down to Revelation 13. And it's very interesting because Europe is a model of what's going to happen in the rest of the world, more or less. They're honing their arguments in so that they can use them over here. If you're paying attention to the Sunday laws, for instance, in Europe, you'll recognize that they're using or developing secular arguments to defend Sunday rest and eventually Sunday worship. Secular arguments. Not biblical arguments, secular arguments, so that secular people will accept it. And when there's a device that comes along, such as disaster or some other crisis, which is always an opportunity, they will use it to, press for Sunday legislation. So Rome has tried to do this for years. Europe is so secular, however, that many leaders are wary of Rome's political and religious ambitions. They have, for one reason or another, stood in her way. They don't want religion forced down their secular and irreligious throats. But that will change. When there's enough disasters, enough fear, enough crisis, they will be seeking answers, and people turn to their religious leaders for answers when they're in crisis. You know that, don't you? Keep in mind that there are at least 4 levels of the Sunday law, prophetically speaking. Level 1 is Sunday closing laws. That's where all the shops and industries and businesses are closed on Sunday. In some states here in the United States, we have Sunday closing laws, at least for certain types of things. They're not that well enforced, they're not that well used perhaps, but they do exist, and sometimes they're enforced. It varies. Level 2 is Sunday rest laws, which means that not only are the shops closed and industries, but individuals and families are not allowed to do certain secular activities on Sunday. For instance, like fixing the deck on your house, or hanging out the laundry, or mowing the lawn. You see, those are the kind of things that will eventually also be banned under the growing pressure for more elevated Sunday laws. Level 3 is Sunday worship laws. Okay? Where everyone's required to worship on Sunday. That's when it becomes the mark of the beast, by the way, according to the spirit of prophecy. That's when Sunday laws actually transform into the mark of the beast. And number 4 are anti-Sabbath laws, where you're forbidden to worship on the Sabbath and required to work on God's holy Sabbath day. All right, those are the 4 levels. Right now there's plenty of Sunday closing laws, especially in Europe. In fact, almost all of Europe has Sunday closing laws, but that won't stay that way forever. During the last years of the pontificate of John Paul II, he published an apostolic letter. No doubt it was reviewed and edited by none other than Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, who is now Benedict XVI. It was called Dies Domini, which extolled Sunday as the Sabbath of the church in place of the Sabbath of the Lord. In fact, the apostolic letter, published in 1998, skillfully characterized the change of the Sabbath to Sunday in the most pious terms, quoting even, or rather misquoting Scripture in support of Rome's long-standing traditional doctrine of Sunday worship. In the apostolic letter, John Paul actually uses Protestant arguments for Sunday, as well as Catholic ones. In doing so, he no doubt ingratiated himself to Protestants with whom he is trying to develop an ecumenical effect, a unifying effect, especially around Sunday worship. That is always the way it is. Now, Benedict XVI has not been slack, however, to promote Sunday worship. While in Vienna in 2007, he preached a homily in which he said that Austria ought to be an example to all the rest of Europe as a nation that protects Sunday as a day of rest. Then, in an address to the diplomats there in Austria, he said, "Without Sunday, we cannot live," quoting an ancient Catholic church leader in Africa when he said that. Then in late 2008, the church joined with other churches, the Catholic Church joined with other churches and trade unions to pressure the European Parliament to enact stronger Sunday laws to force their beliefs on all citizens of Europe. Europe already has level 1 Sunday closing laws, which require all those shops and industries to be closed. But Germany's basic law, or its constitutional law, actually calls Sunday a day for spiritual improvement, putting a religious aspect to it. Now, it's obviously intended as a religious law, therefore, and it has essentially been around since the Weimar Constitution of 1919. By the way, at the end of 2009, December 1, the High Court of Germany handed down a ruling which was misunderstood by many people. All of a sudden, emails started flying around. The Sunday law's just been passed in Germany. You know, that was inaccurate. The High Court actually was dealing with a case against where the bishops, the church, the Catholic Church, and the German Lutheran Church, I think it was, and the trade unions took the city of Berlin to court to defend Sunday rest laws. The city of Berlin wanted to expand Sunday shopping. There was allowed 4 days a year, I think. And they wanted to expand it to 10 or 12 or something like that. And these organizations got together, took them to court. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, or the High Court of Germany in Karlsruhe. And that court handed down a decision saying that the Berlin city had to comply with constitutional law, with Germany's constitutional law. And some people misunderstood that as if the court had passed a new law. That's not what happened. That law had been around since 1919, as I just said, in the Weimar Constitution, which was before Hitler. During Hitler, the law lapsed. But when they established the Federal Republic of Germany after the end of World War II, they simply took the text, the exact wording of the 1919 law concerning Sunday rest,